Okay, welcome to day one for credit 5, talking about simultaneous solutions for linear equations. You're going to watch that intro video and complete that. Now, we're going to make some comparisons. It's talking about two different online gaming systems, Gamers World and Digital Domain, and they offer these prices, right? So you can play these multiplayer games, just $3.95 per day and 5 cents per minute. Or Digital Domain has only $2 per day plus 10 cents per minute. So you're going to go through a number of questions on which is going to be the better deal for you. And it really depends on the number of minutes, right? Because if you went 0 minutes, this is going to cost you $3.95. And if you went 0 minutes over here, this would cost you 2. So this would be the better deal. But, you know, if you played a lot of minutes, this is going to be cheaper, right? Because it's 5 cents per minute versus 10 cents per minute. So at what point are the two plans going to be equal is basically the idea. I'm going to use this and this instead, doing a little GeoGebra file to kind of show you how it's done. But you're going to do your calculations based on those two, of course. Okay, so what do we want to do? For each business, write a rule calculating the daily charge for any number of minutes. So over here, I would have 425 plus, it's going to increase by 15 cents every minute, so that's my rate of change. So it's going to be plus 15 cents for every minute. So maybe we say T, okay? And the other one would just be $3 starting out. This is the initial condition, right? Plus 20 cents per minute. Okay, but you're going to have your own rules written down for that. So I'm just going to give this the name f of x and this one g of x. And I'm going to put this into GeoGebra rather than work things out on paper, and that way I can make it a little simpler for myself. Okay, so let's bring up GeoGebra. Alright, so in GeoGebra, I want to make two functions, f of x and g of x. So f of x equals and yeah, I want to make it a function of x, so I'm just going to use x instead of t. And then g of x. Alright, so you see these two lines, but I want to first add my spreadsheet view. So the first question asks, what are the daily charges by each business for customers using 30 minutes? So 30 minutes, if that's my input, my output, let's see, equals f of 30, or that value, f of a1. And then, so it'd be $8.75 would be the charge for the first one, and g of x, or g of that number, g of a1, equals $9. So it looks like the second plan costs more, so you'd still be better off with, or you'd be better off with the first plan. Okay. Might be different for the other ones, of course. Next question, so back over to our packet. How many minutes in a day could Jordan spend playing online games for $10 using the pricing plans for each of these two businesses? Okay, so what I want to do there is, let's see, so this is the function is how much money it's going to cost, right? So I want to go to $10 and find out that value. So I could turn on my grid, maybe turn on my grid and look over here. Okay, so something around there, which is 35. So 35 minutes probably for that plan. This is g of x. And the other for 10, make sure I'm on the right line here. And you might want to scale your axes down. Let's see, if I hold down the shift key, I think I can do that. Yeah. Makes it a little easier to read. So right here, something around 38. A way it can be more accurate with it is to actually draw a line. If I say input y equals 10, that will draw me a line where y is equal to 10. And then if I find those intersection points, I can find an exact value for you. So let's click that, and use that intersect button. And this gives me the point A, which is at 35, which I said before. Now, let's try this other one, that one, and that one. So point B is at 38 and 0.33, so 38 and a third. So you could spend 38 and a third minutes playing online games, and that would cost you $10 on plan F. Okay, so that's the way you can go about that. For the number of minutes, data. Okay, so for what number of minutes are the daily online game access for Gamers World and Digital Domain? When is Gamers World going to be cheaper? So let's go back. So Gamers World is F, right? So the lower price, right, is going to be down here. So it looks like right here, g of x is cheaper for any number of minutes, right? So given this amount of minutes, 0 minutes, this one's cheaper. Given 5 minutes, this one's cheaper. Given 20 minutes, this one's still cheaper. And then around here is where now the other one starts to get cheaper, right? Function f gets cheaper. So you have to find that intersection point, and you can just grab that intersection point just by putting the point there. So point C is at 25 minutes. So 25 minutes for my problem would be when Gamers World starts to get cheaper, right? And you can change the labels on these points. If you right click Object Properties and change the label to value. Alright, there, now I can see it on the graph. Okay, so finally, let's go through a few more things. Do you know someone that takes part in online games? Yes or no? Which pricing plan would cost less for your kind of use? So I guess if you use 0 minutes, that's going to be pretty easy for you. Compare the price of online access from the two sites. So this is where they give the same daily charge. So you can make a table of values and find out where the two values are equal, or you can use GeoGebra and find that intersection point. Then we get down to some algebraic manipulations of this. So this is the symbolic representation of one graph and the symbolic representation of the other graph. So where are those two values? Where are these two functions, right? F of x, when does it equal g of x? Right? So what value of x does that happen at? So if you solve this equation for x, you will find out where these two functions are equal, right? That's the logic. And then they give you the formulas now. And you're going to test some points. So test some points. Does it make both equations true if you plug in 1 for x and 7 for y, right? Or check these pairs of numbers. Is it true for both equations, one or the other, right? Is it true if I plug in 10 for x and 3 for y, is this equation true? And then I check this one. Is if I plug in 10 for x and 3 for y, is that one true? And 20 and 8. And 20 and 8. So check those things, and then name a pair of numbers x and y that satisfy both equations. So which value of x and y would make both equations true? That's that question. And that's it. Is there another pair, right, of x and y values that would make it true? So think about that one. And then these get down to the mechanics of how is this system going to be solved, right? What value of x and y make both equations true? You can use a table of values, you can use graphs, you can use your algebraic reasoning. like we did before in that previous example. So tell us the method that you used and the x and y value that you found that would make both equations true. And you do that on these four. And then we get to kind of a real world example with dimes and quarters. So it says here that her coins have a total value of $5.80 and she has a total of 40 coins. So you're going to go through and analyze which situation actually fits what she's talking about. Is this it? Let's see, the number of dimes plus the number of quarters, is it equal to 580? See, this is not the correct model. The number of coins should be 40, right? So it should be the number of dimes plus the number of quarters is equal to 40, so this is wrong. And it says the way the value of the coins is calculated is not expressed correctly. Right, so it's not 40 times the number of dimes, right? If I had 5 dimes, 5 times 40 would be 200. Is it $200? No, that's not right. So you want to find, it's going to be the number of dimes times the value of each dime, right? So if it was 4 dimes, it would be 4 in for D times 0.1, right? 0.1 and then be 0.4, which would be 40 cents. So think about that. How should this equation be written out? The value of the dimes plus the value of the quarters should equal $5.80. So at least this side of the equation looks like it's right. Okay? So figure out which one is correct and describe why others are wrong. And then use the tables, graphs, and algebraic reasoning to find a solution to the system of equations that you selected. So then try to work it out for yourself and figure out which equation or what is the value for the number of dimes that would be true, and what is the value for the number of quarters that would be true for both equations, right? So they have to add up to 40, and the value of them has to add up to $5.80. Okay. Then we have just one more problem. Going back to the old question of Carlos and Carlita from the last credit. Actually, they're opening a new business, right? They were doing something with pets, but now it looks like they're doing some window washing. So go ahead and read through that and do that example. And then write in your math notebook what you've learned about today and answering those questions. Thanks.